Hello and welcome. My name is Xander. I will be your instructor through this tutorial. Now, this tutorial is actually part of a whole course which you can access the first stages for free here on YouTube. Now, in this tutorial, I might mention resources and other tutorials. Do check out the link in the video description, which will take you to the playlist, and also there will be a link to the resources so that you can access and follow along here on YouTube. Now, if you like this course, you found it useful, and you want to take that next step, you can find this course over at Udemy. All the links to the resources can be found in the video description. Now, don't forget, also subscribe to the channel for weekly promotions, discounts, and free course giveaways. Right, so before we start the next module, we're going to need data in a database to perform queries, and we don't want to have to manually add the data and tables every time we start a new tutorial or module after this point, because like I said, we are going to be very much focused in on querying the data from this point, so extracting and filtering data from the database. So in this tutorial, let's take a look at how to create an initialization script. In PostgreSQL, it allows us to run scripts before the database is fully initiated. So we can run scripts to make changes to Postgres, maybe to users and permissions, or we can build database tables and add data. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. We're going to create an initialization script, which will create the tables in a specified database and add data before the database starts, so to prepare the database in ready for us to work through the tutorials in the next modules. Now, the good thing about this is that PostgreSQL will simply run SQL code in the initialization script. So in actual fact, we have all the code that we need. So first of all, in this second module here, we have the create all tables script. That's going to create all of our tables, so we need that. And then we also have our load data from CSV. So we're going to make this folder, we're going to bind this folder over to the Docker container. So we'll have access to all of these files, which include all the data related to the individual tables in our database. And you can see that this load data script will load all that data in, not this last line. That's just an example of using an encoding. Don't forget that. So we just simply need that code as well as the table creation script. So first up, we create initialization script. So I've gone ahead and done exactly that. I've created this initialization file called init.sql. I've copied in all of our table code, and then I've also copied in the copy commands for all the data migration to the tables. So that's step one. Right, so step two, we need to update our Docker Compose file to ensure that we use this file in the initialization of our Docker Postgres container. So when running PostgreSQL in a Docker container, initialization scripts will allow us to automatically set up the database when the container starts for the first time. Now, what you're looking at here is the order in which the scripts are executed. So first of all, any database creation scripts, and then any user creation, and then any additional custom SQL scripts. So these initialization scripts are extremely useful for automating database setups like we're doing here in this tutorial, and configuring things like tables like we do here, schemas, or any other important database components. So we're going to create a new Docker Compose file for this, and that's going to be the Docker Compose with initial script. That's what I've called it. Apologies for the naming of these scripts. I haven't done very well here. So what you're going to see in volumes is our new bind mount. So here we are binding this file called init.sql, which we have previously created, and we're copying it over to this folder called docker entry point initdb.d. Right, so this is the directory inside the container where Postgres is going to inspect when it initialized for any scripts to run before Postgres starts. This is a predefined initialization directory, so this is what we have to use here with Docker and PostgreSQL. So there's no need to make any changes or put it anywhere else. And that's just about it. So let's give that a go. So I'm going to delete all the existing containers if we do have any. That's going to take a few moments. And then when you're ready, let's give this a go. So this is going to be Docker compose with the F flag, and then Docker compose with initial script up and D flag. Let's give this a go. So it looks like everything is running. What you might like to do is inspect the container, and you can see here that it looks like it has loaded up. I can see straight away. So as you move through this initialization script, you can see here, so this is all the output from initializing Postgres. You can see that eventually it finds our script right here. And you can see that we've created the tables, we've copied the data and how much data we've copied in each table, and then it's reinitialized the database in preparation for us to start using. If there were any errors in the initialization script, we would probably see that output right here. Right, so if you need to, let's just go ahead and inspect that data so we can log in as per usual. So let's access the container first, and then we'll log in and then connect to our inventory table, and then let's use the DT to inspect the table. So we have now automated the process of starting Postgres, creating the database tables. Remember, we're only creating the tables. The database has already been created through our script here. We specified a table to create when we build our Postgres container, and it has added all the data. So we're now going to utilize this in further modules when we start to query or learn how to query the database. That's just going to speed up the process of initializing the database and creating the table so that we can actually perform the queries that we learn.